Hey, Keir. Hey, Ruby. My name is James Masella from Movie Death Blows. Thanks for taking the time to sit down with me today.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having us.
Yeah, for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Keir, I know you got to play Billy, Willie Pep's son here. And I think I was talking to James and Robert before. They said he had passed away before filming had finished or the movie had finished. Did you get to meet with him a lot and kind of work on your character that way? What was the relationship like between you two, if that's possible?
Yeah. So I was offered the opportunity to meet with Billy. They were like, he's still in Hartford. And we talked to him all the time. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to. I wasn't sure how that would affect the performance. I didn't want to be doing impression, but I ultimately chose to, and I'm really glad I did. And we just sat at a diner and, drank coffee and talked, and I picked his brain and asked him questions about his dad and his life at that time, in the 60s. Even just little details of like, what was your hair like, or, what were you doing most of the time? Um, and yeah, that was really helpful because, yeah, he was very honest with me about, his life and his struggle with addiction. So yeah, I wouldn't say we like talked every day on the phone, but we definitely, he'd come by set sometimes. Yeah.
Was it hard for him to relive this kind of stuff, like his, addiction from the 60s, and we see him kind of progress from there? Was it hard trying to see this for him on, film and everything like that?
I'll be honest, I was expecting that. I was a little surprised with how okay he seemed with it. And the freedom he had given us all to do it. I mean, he wasn't trying, I was like, there's a version of this where maybe I meet up with him and he starts trying to control, my portrayal or, sugarcoat certain things or try to claim that, his relationship with his dad was a lot better than it was. But he actually didn't. He was very like, I mean, I asked him a lot of times, like, hey, is this cool with you? And he was just like, yeah, yeah, do your thing. I think it's fine. So it was a little surprising. I don't know if I would have been as okay with somebody just kind of taking liberty with that.
Sure. Ruby, you got to play Linda Pep, Willie's, I think it's his third wife, I think they say. In the fourth or fourth? No, that's
One of those, yeah.
did you get any time with the real Linda? I don't know if she was around or what was that like for you? Take inspiration from.
So Steve kind of made the character of Linda in his script an amalgamation of all of Willie's former wives. He was married, I believe, 6 times. And so there was a lot of data points to work with. And I think from a writing perspective, it felt like you were able to sort of uh, have like if you had a looser or if you cast a broader net rather with crafting the character of Linda, it would give you sort of more narrative opportunity. So, I think there were some historical anchors that he used, but for the most part, I was given a lot of creative liberty and creative license. And I didn't have contact with any of Willie's other wives. Um, and I think that was it was a totally different experience for me than Jim, I think, and me than Kier, because I really did. I got to have a lot of authorship, and I got to sort of decide really who I thought this person was based on the words on the page, and then sort of go from there and improving and receiving that which the other actors brought into the room.
Yeah. We see Linda in the movie. I was gonna say struggling, but she's like an aspiring actress at that point. Did you see any parallels to like your own career and coming up in like the acting business that way?
I have no idea why you would ask that. Yeah, no, 100%. I think that was something that Rob felt very strongly about was that whoever played this part, he wanted to be able to relate to the character in a very visceral way. And for sure, I think the natural parallel exists there between like, this is my first film role, Ruby Wolf, my first film role. And so the opportunity feels felt to me very comparable to how Linda would view a documentary crew full of young, hip New York artists coming into her house in Hartford, Connecticut. Any one of whom, from her perspective, could be the person that like believes in her, and that's the door, right? It was very, very easy to understand that parallel, and I think it was really smart casting on Rob's part to have found an actor who was so eager for an opportunity to relate.
I wonder who that could have been. Oh, it was you. Never mind. Kier, I know you were born in London. You grew up in Massachusetts a little bit. Those are big, big sports, big boxing towns. Were you familiar with the sport of boxing at all? Like, did you know who Willie Pep was before you took this role as his son?
Nope. It's I was a bookworm kid. My parents offered me to play whatever sport I wanted, and I was like, no, I'm good. So weirdly enough, yes, come from big sports cultures, also Toronto, with the hockey, but I had no idea who he was. But I mean, I was intrigued immediately. I was like, oh, okay, this guy's like won the most fights pretty much in his weight class, and I was very attracted to as a little guy myself, the fact that he was a little featherweight who kicked ass. I think that also appealed to me.
I was telling Robert before, I love the way he shot this, where we have like a documentary crew that's following Willie, and it actually looks like we're watching them as they're filming this whole thing. What do you guys think about how the film looked in general? Because I think it looked fantastic.
I think Adam Kolodny, Rob's brother, our DP, and Rob, like they're so talented. And I think it is like so stunning, the like finished product. I like it really seeing it the first time, like that took my breath away because I was like, wow, it's so incredible how they've been able to capture like the feeling of this specific time and place. And my mother actually grew up about 5, 10 minutes outside of Hartford in a town called Manchester, Connecticut. And I got to watch her watch the film for the first time. And I said, like you were alive in the 60s there and then. Did it feel like that? And she was like, it felt totally like that. And she found old Super 8 home movies from her family that we looked at, and I was like, this is crazy. It's crazy that they were able to do that because it does look so authentic to the time. So it's incredibly impressive on their parts.
I mean, I will say, like, speaking to them even briefly, like when we first got there about how they were going to shoot it, like the two of them, Adam would be fine on his own, but then you've got like Rob as well, who's got this huge background in camera and um, photography and stuff. I mean, I'm almost like not that impressed because I kind of knew they were gonna nail it. Like, I mean, once you hear these guys talk about how they're gonna shoot it, you're like, okay, I expect nothing less. So it's very, very impressive, but I'm almost not shocked. When I saw the final thing, I was like, yeah, okay, this is a little better than I expected. But yeah, they're top of their game. So yeah.
I was talking to James and Rob before, and I know you guys got to debut this at the Venice Film Festival last year. Were both of you guys there for that? And if so, what's it like seeing that standing ovation for your work put in front of all these people?
I
I
was
was not
there.
Ruby, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, that was like, I mean, like best moment of my life. Don't tell my husband because I am married and I feel like I should be like, it was my wedding day. But no, like really, truly, like the Venice moment was like so surreal because I, again, similarly to the character of Linda, like I've been acting since I was a kid and really seriously pursuing it for the last like 15, 16 years of my life. And to have a moment to see that work that we had all come together and put so much of ourselves into being received and appreciated in that way was really like, I think, staggering and also like so perfect. I don't know. It was like such a nice reflection of the love and the care that we put into the work being reflected back at us. And I will remember it to the day that I die, I am sure, because it was my first movie and what a hell of a way to kick it off.
That's awesome. Last question before we wrap up, Keir, I have to ask a selfish question of you. 10 years ago we saw you in a movie called It Follows as Paul. I know they've been talking about doing a sequel for a while. Any chance we see you show up again in that if they do
Uh, I don't know what I'm allowed.
it?
Uh, no, you will not.
Gotcha.
So yeah, but I don't want to like. Hopefully, I'm not spoiling anything for anyone. But yeah, anyway,
All good, guys. Ruby, Keir, I appreciate you guys sitting down with me today. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait for everybody to see the Featherweight when it comes out later this week. Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Thank you so much.